Hi, everybody. Welcome to our session today on CLS Indonesian. We'll just give it a few more minutes for some more attendees to show up, and then we'll get started. Thanks for joining. Okay, I see some more attendees filing in, so I will go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us to learn about the 2024 Critical Language Scholarship Program and application. We're excited that you're considering to apply for CLS for next summer. The CLS program is a program of the U.S. Department of State with funding provided by the U.S. government and supported in its implementation by our team at American Councils for International Education. My name is Jessica Klink, and I am the program officer for the Indic and Indonesian languages with CLS. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Caitlin.
Thank you, Jessica, and hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Caitlin Carpio. I am the Alumni Engagement Officer here on the CLS team at American Councils for International Education, and it is also my distinct pleasure to introduce a CLS alumnus that we have on the call today, Douglas, who participated in the CLS Indonesian program in 2022. So I will pass it over to Douglas to introduce himself.
Hey, everybody. Happy to see you all. My name is Douglas Andreasen, and I'm a graduate student in history at California State University, Sacramento. Did CLS Indonesia 2022, and I'm also a 2023 Wrangell Fellow.
Thanks, Douglas. In this presentation, we will cover an overview of the CLS Indonesian program, the program structure for the Indonesian Overseas Institutes, the benefits of participating, and tips for writing a compelling application. Feel free to use the Q&A box feature as we go along. We'll have time at the end to go through those questions. And also feel free to ask questions directly of Douglas, who did participate last year.
The CLS program is an intensive summer opportunity funded by the U.S. government for American undergraduate and graduate students to study one of 13 languages essential to our engagement with the world. CLS scholars participate in courses and activities offered through partner institutes abroad, developing regional and cultural knowledge and forming connections with local students and instructors. Students interested in studying Indonesian may apply for the CLS program, through which they will study at a CLS host institute overseas.
So you may be asking why you should study Indonesian. So Indonesian is the official language of the most populous Muslim country and one of the world's most interesting cultural and economic landscapes. It is spoken by over 250 million people living in the archipelago nation of Indonesia, and fewer than 300 Americans enrolled in collegiate Indonesian courses in 2016. So it is an amazing opportunity for those who take the language. I'm sure you can ask Douglas a little bit more about Indonesia and Malang in specific, but it is a remarkable country made up of 6,000 inhabited islands, and many of these islands feature their own unique cultures and languages. Closely related to the widely spoken Malay language, Indonesian has the potential to be the gateway to many countries in Southeast Asia as well. Indonesia features a rapidly growing economy and is gaining momentum on the international stage. By studying Indonesian, you can add an in-demand language to your repertoire and prepare to contribute globally to your field, whether it's medicine, environmental policy, or music and the arts. CLS Indonesian alumni pursue a wide range of professional paths upon completion of the program. For example, some of our alumni are exploring careers in the field of computer science and engineering. We have an alumnus who applies his Indonesian skills for localization projects in his role as a supervisor, working with a team of engineers and linguists to maintain and develop natural language understanding component of the chatbot platform. We also have some alumni in the international development arena who utilize their cultural knowledge and language skills as a member of the international development organizations such as World Bank Group and USAID. And that work includes engaging with Indonesian government counterparts on policy and programmatic planning and contributing to the creation of knowledge products. So you can also ask after if you have any questions about how your career might be related to Indonesian. But we also have many alumni who are actively engaged in the field of environmental science, music, theater, anthropology, international education. The list really is endless. After the slides, we will also engage with Douglas and ask how he has used his Indonesian to further his professional and career goals.
The CLS Indonesian program is open to students at the beginning level through the advanced level. And while many students do have experience with formal classes at the college level, you may substitute other language learning experience for formal classes, such as self-study, tutoring, high school coursework, or knowledge of the language from your home environment. Previous study does not need to appear on an academic transcript, but you do need to be at the appropriate level. We have tips on our website to help you determine what level you should apply for based on your experience, and there is space on the application for you to describe your experiences and how it meets the proficiency requirement for the level to which you are applying. In addition, before CLS participants depart for their host country, they take oral and written placement tests, and groups are constructed based on the assessments made by our partner institute staff, which may not necessarily correspond to your own self-assessed level on the application, and that is okay.
The CLS program takes place over the course of 8 weeks during the summer at overseas institutes. Students participate in the program as a member of a cohort, sharing the same schedule over the course of the program, which includes 15 hours of language classes each week, cultural activities, and local excursions. The CLS program is an intensive and highly structured study abroad program. Students may not have time in their schedule to participate in independent travel and should not plan to engage with research or internship opportunities. The program is academically challenging, and every aspect is designed to maximize language gains and scholars' immersion in the host culture.
In addition to language courses, students participate in a range of immersive cultural activities. This past summer, CLS Indonesian students visited a local business making tempeh, a traditional Indonesian food made from fermented soybeans. Students used their language skills to interact with the business owners and employees and gained more insight into the cultural importance of that food. Participants also agree to a language policy that requires them to speak only in the language they are studying, in this case, Indonesian. And each participant is paired with a language partner who is a local student or member of the host community to practice speaking outside of the classroom. We will discuss more about language partners on the next slide. Overall, the CLS program puts a strong focus on students getting the opportunity to connect with the local culture in their host country and to form friendships with local people. Whenever possible, the CLS program will place students with host families.
For the CLS Indonesian Institute, language partners are typically Indonesian students who are also studying at the host institution. In some instances, these may be students interested in teaching Indonesian in the future, while in other instances, they will be students of varying study backgrounds. Typically, CLS students will be matched with language partners according to common interests to the degree that is possible. Many students and alumni report the language partner meetings as one of the most valuable aspects of the program. Many students spend a significant portion of their out-of-class time with language partners, and common activities that many of them enjoy together are cooking, sharing meals, going on walks around the neighborhood, and celebrating events together, such as birthdays or graduations.
Final program locations will be announced in the spring of 2024. However, historically, the Indonesian program has been hosted in Malang, Indonesia, at Universitas Negeri Malang, or UM. UM is a teachers college, and there are extremely driven group of teachers, language partners, and staff there who support CLS participants. You can go to clscholarship.org/languages for more information on the previous CLS Indonesian programs in Malang. It's important to keep in mind that you are applying for a language, in this case Indonesian, and not a particular program site. When thinking about writing a compelling application, focus on why you need to study the language. Additionally, CLS strives to foster a deeper understanding of the host culture and community, and excursions and cultural activities are some of the ways that we build on this. Cultural programming and excursions in the past have included classes on traditional music and dance, visits to local mosques, and tours of factories and farms producing local products at the regional and national levels. Each excursion helps to provide CLS students with deeper insight into the life in the host community.
CLS participants make a significant language gains over their summer in just 8 weeks. In those 8 weeks, students complete the equivalent of 2 semesters of undergraduate coursework. The immense nature of the program is the reason why many alumni tell us their language fluency was at its peak after CLS. Students receive certification of their language gains through an ACTFL OPI certificate upon completion of their program. And while CLS participants have no service commitment to the U.S. government after completion of the program, alumni are eligible for non-competitive eligibility for U.S. government jobs, which makes pursuing a career in the civil service that much easier if it is your goal.
Proficiency in a critical language, as well as cross-cultural competency, open doors for alumni seeking further academic and employment opportunities. Studying abroad can help you develop and hone skills that employers seek, such as resilience, adaptability, confidence, and a growth mindset. Alumni frequently speak of the benefit of joining a vibrant and engaged community of international exchange alumni. Fellow CLS program alumni often become a source of support when navigating career decisions or additional fellowships and scholarships post-CLS. CLS alumni also become a part of the rich and diverse network of the U.S. Department of State International Exchange alumni.
An application for the 2024 CLS program includes 3 short answer essays and a personal statement. There is no letter of recommendation requirement. We strongly recommend reaching out to professors and trusted resources on your campus for help with your application. Faculty and instructors may have ideas for areas of international interest in your field. A writing center, fellowship or scholarship office, or study abroad office, honors program, those may be good places to start to get feedback on your essays.
So at this time, I'm really excited to pass it over to our 2022 CLS Indonesian Alumni Ambassador, Douglas, to hear a little bit about his experience on program. So Douglas, can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to apply for the CLS program, why specifically Indonesian, and what you thought were the greatest benefits of participating?
Yeah, sure. So I initially applied to CLS, or the reason why I wanted to join is because I really didn't want to take Spanish at my college. And I had tried to take Spanish a couple of times, and it just wasn't really interesting to me. And I live in California, and it seemed like everybody got it but me. And I thought, what's the cooler way to get a language requirement from my university? And I thought, okay, well, CLS seems to be the one. And Indonesian specifically, my advisor for my history program, he's sort of an expert on Southeast Asia. He speaks a little bit of Indonesian, and he really got me interested. I was taking a class where there was a big segment on Indonesia in his class, and it just seemed really interesting. The culture seemed really interesting. It's a place that's not really looked at in a lot of geography classes, history classes, political science, and I felt like, well, this might just be the one for me. The reason why I wanted to what I would have done with the language afterward, I was really looking into being a teacher, and I thought international education might be my kind of vibe. My life sort of had a dramatic change right afterward, and I ended up getting the Wrangel Fellowship, which sort of changed what I would be using my Indonesian language for. But now I already have a head start in the language, and so I would really enjoy my first couple posts being in Indonesia in the Foreign Service, and I feel like that would be a pretty poetic way for it to go. As far as the benefits of joining CLS, well, it's sort of interesting to look back and see like, well, this might just be the most important thing I ever did in my life. It kind of is. Right after I got back, or right before we left Malang, Jessica sent me an email asking me to apply for the Wrangel Fellowship. I hadn't even heard of it before. And then I applied, and then I got it. And I, not just because of the experience that made me a more competitive applicant for Wrangel, but also just having never heard of it before I did CLS was also really cool. That said, it made me much more confident in my academic abilities. Learning a language is pretty hard, but once you do it, you feel pretty good with yourself. And in general, I made a lot of friends, and any CLS person I meet, I'm like, hey, did you do CLS? They're like, yeah. I'm like, hey, we're in a club now. And you can immediately start talking to them, and you get along with them. And yeah, it's pretty great.
Thanks, Douglas, for sharing. If anyone who's joining today has questions about his experience on the program, please feel free to put them in the chat. Would love to talk about some more specific experiences and like memorable moments later. If we can go to the next slide. Thank you. Great. So in terms of who can succeed and how to succeed on the CLS program and in the application process, we do want applications from students of all majors at all levels of language learning. That means absolute beginner to advanced students, and we encourage students of all disciplines to think about how critical languages can help their careers. Successful applicants for the CLS program come from a wide range of backgrounds and are excited to represent the diversity of the United States abroad. The program places an emphasis on students who are prepared for the rigorous academic program and the intensive nature of the program.
In your application, it's important to show that you can succeed on the CLS program. That includes addressing your ability to study intensively, your skills at adapting to a group program setting, and your cultural flexibility and maturity. You should show that you are motivated to pursue Indonesian study and that you have a plan for how you will continue learning and using Indonesian in the future. Finally, you also need to make a clear connection between Indonesian and your academic or professional career goals. Douglas, do you have any tips to share from your experience when you went through the CLS application process?
Absolutely, yeah. I think first and foremost, your letters of recommendation should probably come from people who are really excited about you doing CLS and can really attest to your ability to learn the language and to utilize it after you get back. My advisors were very enthusiastic, and they were really happy for me. And second, as far as I understand, the ideal applicant is somebody who is really going to use Indonesian for a long time after they finish the program. I, for example, really wanted to get into international education. I really wanted to go to Indonesia multiple times afterward, teach English, maybe teach Indonesian in America. And I feel like, that sort of mindset is important, not only just to have, just to get CLS to be on your side, but also just it's a healthy way to want to learn the language. You'll never really convince yourself that you're in it to win it if you just say, I'm going to learn it for the summer and then I'm going to be done. It'll be much more enjoyable if you want to make a commitment and you're excited about the language and culture. Yeah.
Thanks, Douglas. This year we do not have letters of recommendation. However, those individuals who you may have relationships with, like your advisors or your scholarships office, you should still connect with them and have them help you look at your essays. they may see something that you don't in your essays, and they may just have ideas for how you can improve them. They're used to reading a lot of these types of applications. And so and some of them may even be reviewers for CLS. They wouldn't be reviewing your application. We do have, like a conflict of interest here, but, they're excellent resources. And we do have a page on our website where you can find if someone is an advisor on your campus. It would be clscholarship.org/universities. Highly recommend going there, looking up to see if your campus has an advisor. And if they don't, you can even reach out to a nearby university to see if somebody from a close by university would be willing to look at your essays. In general, I would say these advisors are very flexible. So please, please, please reach out and have somebody help you with your essays. So in terms of the timeline for CLS, the application is open now. So hopefully you have gotten started. If you haven't, I recommend getting started as soon as possible, because the deadline is November 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific. We do recommend submitting well in advance of that deadline to avoid any last minute computer glitches that may prevent you from submitting on the deadline. Trust me, it happens. It's happened last year. It's happened in 2022. So please maybe just put the deadline in a day before so you avoid those issues. By late January, every applicant will be notified of whether or not they will advance to the semifinal round of selection. This notification is done by email, so please make sure you include a valid email address in your application. If you'll be graduating, it's probably a good idea to put in an email address that is not associated with your university. So those who advance to the semifinal round can expect to be notified by early March of whether or not they have been selected for the award. Students who are selected for the award will have about 2 weeks to either accept or decline the offer, at which point declined awards will be offered to alternate candidates.
So we want to go ahead and share our contact information if you do have any questions after this session does wrap. So feel free to send us any inquiries or questions at cls@americancouncils.org. You can also call us here at our DC office using this phone number. And then we have a wealth of resources on our website. So we really encourage you to check out our website, clscholarship.org/apply. You can also go and look at all of the previous Indonesian sites and dates and some summaries and learn more about the Indonesian program. We also really encourage you to stay in touch by following us on our social media platforms. We have Instagram, Facebook, and X, and we share a lot of program updates, alumni profiles, and other stories on our social medias. So make sure you're following us and stay up to date with what is going on with the CLS program.